Hello, my friend. Stay a while and listen.
What's going on, guys? It's Filthy and I'm back with another video. Today we're taking a look at what will probably be the top Necro push build for next season, which is the Legacy of Dreams Corpse Explosion Necro. Now, it's probably a little bit better than the Grim Scythe, but it is very close. Now, Grim Scythe at the moment does have a little bit of a bug with the simulacrum, so whether that has an impact on that, only time will tell. But for the moment, Corpse Explosion is very tanky and it deals an awful lot of damage. It's a damage window type build, which might put some people off, but given the high sustainability and toughness of the build, it's really not too bad to play. It's not like Lancer where you were brittle, it is very tough. Now before we jump in and take a look at it, a quick plug for the speed version of this build, which can do 95 and flatten that very quickly. Maybe with some optimization we could get that up nearer 100, but if you just wanted to aug one spec out, then you could go for Corpse Explosion push and also speed on the Legacy of Dreams. With Inarius being the starting set for the Necro, you can also piggyback on the Corpse Explosion build that we did for that, so kind of a nice transition if you fancy doing a season of Corpse Explosion. Other than that, if you are new, do consider subscribing. We've got some more Diablo 3 content on the way. Other than that, guys, let's jump in and take a look. So jumping in and starting at the beginning, guys, first thing we're going to need is the Legacy of Dreams gem. Now the way this gem works is it increases in power the higher you rank it up. And once you get to level 25, you get double bonuses for any ancient item. So in theory, you want every slot filled in with ancients. Now I'd say pretty much every piece in here has its place. The only one that is debatable is shoulders. So I just go for any kind of ancient pair for them. But the rest of them I would be looking to kit this out as it is. Now at max 99 rank, you'll deal 9,750% damage provided every slot is ancient. And also get 52% damage reduction, again assuming all the pieces are ancient, so pretty powerful. Now on live, Corpse Explosion doesn't deal quite so much damage, but on PTR and for when this patch does make it to the game, it's going to be increased to 1050%, so nice kind of 3 times the damage basically. Corpse Explosion normally revolves around the Grasp of Essence gloves. These are really easy to get early game because you can get them at level 1, but you're probably going to want to put them on the character because the other gloves that we've got you can't drop in the Necro loot pool. These you have to get with a strength character, so a Barb or a Satyr, but you can just extract them, so quite easy to get hold of. But these Corpse Explosion gloves have been buffed. They now deal up to 200% increased damage, stacking 5 times, so a nice 1000% modifier. Used to be 500%, but 1000% now obviously hits twice as hard, so factoring those two things in, because they multiply, we're dealing a bunch more damage with the Corpse Explosion. Other modifiers are going to be from the Trag'ouls Corroded Fang. We deal up to 200% against cursed enemies. We will be manually applying our curse with the Grim Scythe Cursed Scythe. So with the Trag'ouls Corroded Fang other property, we have a 100% chance to apply, so we will get a curse on the enemy when we hit with Grim Scythe. Now the interesting thing is we get the base effect of every single curse, so we get Decrepify, meaning monsters deal less damage, which is great because we want to survive until our damage window. We get Leech for a bit of sustain, and we also get Frailty, meaning monsters die when they get under 15% health. So all of those things are pretty nice. And we also have a Nair's Black Death, so we're going to be juicing up poison skills. We've got 5 on the bar for a 500% modifier. Now you'll only ever have 1 generally, or maybe 2 stacks until you get to your damage window. Don't worry about it, because once you do get to your damage window, you'll be able to pop all your abilities and have 500% extra damage pretty much for the entire duration of Land of the Dead. Other modifiers are convention of elements. This does come into play, obviously the higher push we go, so we want to make sure we're dealing as much damage as we can during the poison rotation. Necro's only got 3 elements, so it's cold, then physical, and then finally poison. So we want to be activating our stun in poison to make sure that we're getting the most damage out. That is because we're going to take the Crispin sentence, so we get a base damage doubling against anything that is slowed. Obviously Bane of the Trap applies a slow, but we deal a triple this, so 300% against any other CC, so a freeze, stun, something like that. That's where the bone armor comes in. This is an on-demand stun, and that will allow us to activate the triple bonus on Crispins. Now, there is an argument for only taking 4 Nair stacks and going for 400% modifier, and doing the Land of the Dead Frozen Lands, which will get off the freeze for the Crispins. That makes it slightly easier to play, but obviously you do deal a little bit less damage. I'm not too sure what's best, because obviously the crispin proc for the entire duration of Land of the Dead is quite nice, so that is something that certainly could be swapped around. In terms of damage, the other thing we do have is the Johnstone, so we get 50 juiced up corpse explosions after we use Land of the Dead. So when you get in the rift for the first time, you're going to want to pop Land of the Dead pretty early, because at the end of that you're then going to get 50 rounds of Johnstone, which will appear here. So 50 macabre stacks, and they'll deal 200% extra damage. Now what you need to do obviously is try and save these, because we're only going to be able to attack when we have corpses, and that's only going to be when Land of the Dead is up, because we get infinite corpses then. So you don't really want to burn through your stacks. You want to kind of save these for Land of the Dead and get off your 50 corpse explosions when you've got your poison cycle, and once you've got Land of the Dead to use all the corpses. Other than that, guys, we've got the Bane of the Trapped for a flat damage increase, and we've also got Stricken in the build just to help out with the Rift boss, and also you would kind of stack Stricken with your scythes yourself. Obviously at some point you need this gem. Until you do, a Bane of the Powerful will be absolutely fine, and that will cover you for some extra damage as well. Now in terms of toughness, we've got a crazy amount of layers of mitigation here, which is why we can survive at 111, 112 with, you know, not too much main stat. So the gem gives us 52%, so that's a pretty good start. We get 30% for our Golem Skin breaches, so another nice layer there. We have a Dainty's Binding giving us 50% damage reduction whenever we have a curse, and as we say, we handle that with the Grim Scythe. We have Aquila Cuirass, another 50% bonus because we don't have any spenders, so we're always at max essence. And then you're going to see this kind of combination a lot, which for the Necro, which is going to be Stone Gauntlets, which increase our armor by 50%, stacking 5 times, so a total of 250%, which is huge for the Necro. Does come with a negative, reduced attack speed and move speed, but by taking the Ice Climber's boots, weirdly enough, that negative effect is completely removed. So those two things mean that we get whopping armor. If we then take either red or green gems in our gear, that gives us a huge armor boost. That really does up the toughness quite a lot. Then finally, we've got a unity, so we're going to split damage between us and our follower, because obviously this is a solo push build. Follower needs one of these, and they also need the kind of relic that makes the follower invulnerable, and it's just so much mitigation. Now we do also have an on-demand heal, which is Blood Rush Transfusion. So the idea is you've got like big mobs on the screen, big groups, because obviously you're only dealing damage in a damage window, so lots of stuff will generally attract to you. What you can do is every couple of seconds you can teleport through an entire group of trash, and you get 2% max health per enemy pass through. It's really easy to get this up to like 20%, 40%. Just the more enemies you teleport through, the bigger the heal is, and you'll basically have your life go down because you take damage, teleport, and it's kind of like popping a potion basically, which is pretty good. And obviously you just have to kind of build up density for your damage window to go through. Now last two items, braces. I think them's are the way to go, because it just means you've got a little bit more control over maps. Any kind of pylon is obviously going to give you extra progression because you get the extra elite and just you get the orbs. I probably would go for that. Path and Defenders you could do, because you could go for Bone Armor Dislocation and try and do the stun for that. You can also get like on hit blind, on hit stun, on hit immobilize, but personally I probably would play with Nems because it just means I can push more maps, and I'm not going to be taking this to the absolute extreme, so for me this is the choice. And then a stat stick of an offhand, so just basically something with nice stats. Corpse explosion damage would be brilliant, area damage, crit chance, cooldown, all those types of things. We want obviously poison on braces, poison on our amulet, and then again shoulders completely open. I'd say corruption are probably going to be the easiest to get, just because you can craft these quite cheaply, but a pair of Ogilds again you could craft quite cheaply, and you're just looking for cooldown, corpse explosion, and then probably area damage would be ideal. But if you find yourself a nice primal pair during the season, by all means stick them on. Now in terms of stat priorities, it is definitely cooldown number 1, because we want Land of the Dead back as much as possible. And other than that, corpse explosion damage, area damage, double crit, and just go full DPS. As many damaging stats as you can pick up is probably going to be the way to go. Now looking at the skills in detail, we've got corpse explosion at close quarters. We can only use this when we have a corpse, which is why Land of the Dead is so important. This is the first Nair stack. Curse Scythe, Grim Scythe, this gives us the guaranteed curse and is another Nair stack, so that's 2. Bone Armor Dislocation, on demand stun, so we can activate this during poison cycle for super damage. That's Nair stack number 3. Decay Golem, we can only use this when Land of the Dead is up because it does require a corpse, but it is a 4th stack and it gives us that 30% damage reduction on the trousers, which is very nice. Land of the Dead Plague Lands, this basically just gives us another Nair stack, which means we can dump out so much damage when this is up, and obviously infinite corpse skills mean we can corpse explosion until it basically runs out. Frozen Lands might be a good choice, as we say, because that will give us the Crispman's proc for the entirety of Land of the Dead. But obviously Plague Lands will help us out more against Juggernauts because we can't freeze them, and again, maybe this is a slightly more casual, flexible push build because you will be able to push more maps with this and with the NEMs. Now in terms of your passives, Spreading Malediction will give you a bit more damage, so you're going to go around cursing stuff with Grim Scythe in between damage windows. That will build up density, build up curses and build up your damage. Eternal Torment will mean that your curses last forever, so you only have to tag a mob once with a curse and it will stay. Obviously you want to get all 3 curses on as many enemies as you can. Blood is Power, you will definitely lose 100% of your life in between Land of the Dead cycles, so it's another 20% cooldown, obviously pretty handy. Then Standalone just buffs up our armour even more, we get 90% because we obviously have the 1 minion, which is the Golem. Now no cheat death because we are so tanky that we can avoid taking it, which obviously is pretty nice. Now in terms of what you need to do when you get into the Rift and how to play it, you're going to want to do Land of the Dead fairly early on to get your Johnstone stacks, but obviously before you do you probably want to get to some kind of density, so you go in, you attack something once with Grim Scythe to get a curse up and that gives you 50% damage reduction. You try and get your bone armor stacks up to 10, this is another 30% damage reduction as well. And then once you're happy with like a little bit of density, you can hit Land of the Dead, hit the Golem and then just kind of blow that up as your first cycle. Then after that you're just going hunting for elites, for pylons, for your NEMs, and then once you've got like an area that you're happy with, so enough mobs of high progression, that sort of thing, you're basically just waiting on Land of the Dead. What you're going to do is when it comes around onto poison, you want to make sure that you've got your stun available, and then you pop Land of the Dead, pop your Golem, pop your stun, and then you just simply DPS down with Corpse Explosion. One thing you need to do though is when you do click a pylon, you need to make sure you get your curse off on the enemy, just to make sure you're getting your 200% trags bonus. Once you're outside your damage window, you move on, you look for the next kind of group of enemies to blow up, and then once you're happy with the density that you've got, the enemies you've got, you're then looking to basically curse stuff with Grim Scythe and build stricken stacks, and then again you just pop your bomb when you're ready and you blow up the screen, and it is quite satisfying and it is very nice. Now obviously I know damage window things aren't everybody's cup of tea, so in that case I would recommend Grim Scythe. Still haven't quite fully checked out mages yet, but that does look maybe a little squishy and a bit more difficult. We're going to be working on that over the next couple of days. So that's it guys. This is actually quite fun for a Necro push build. Really happy that it's very tanky. Damage window, yeah, I'm not massively crazy on, but it is very satisfying when it all works and you pop stuff. In the footage sometimes you've seen, you might not always get the right mob, something might fly off. Any monster that runs away or has got shielding and knockback can all be a bit of a pain, but at the end of the day it's probably just the strongest and that's just how it is. But as I say, Grim Scythe is a lot of fun as well. So there we go guys, that's the video for today. Hopefully speaking this goes to live in the condition that it is, and we've got a really tanky, really good push build. Quite a few options for Necro, so that's pretty good. I'll be back with some more PTR content just as soon as I can. Take it easy. Peace.